Hey everybody, good morning. This is Mrs. Volfie from our Half Acre Homestead. Now, I was talking to my patrons last night, and I don't know about all of you, but many of you have sat with me in the living room while I've been working on either the grandmother's flower garden paper piece quilt, or I am hand piecing. It's called the Texas Star, even though it's a 6-pointed star. But I started that star quilt some over 20 years ago. Yeah, it was, I started it in sometime around 2009, 8 or 9. And I have recently realized that the arthritis in the bases of the rheumatoid arthritis that started in the base of my thumbs is making hand sewing and quilting very difficult. So now I'm faced with a dilemma. I have to finish. I have my wool quilt, my wool shop quilt that has to be finished quilting. I have a friendship quilt I started in 2010 with friends and family. I have my grandmother's flower garden. I have my star quilt, and I have to finish a quilt for Bubba. That's 5 unfinished quilt tops that I have to get done before my hand seize up. There's also the fact that both of my sons and one of my nephews all want a quilt that they have had for years that I made them. They want it recovered. So I have a lot of work ahead of me. I am not starting any new projects. Any projects you see have already, from here on out, have already been started. But this year, I have promised to slow down a little bit. I'm going to get to it in a second, trust me. I promised to slow down a little bit for my own health. And it doesn't mean I have to stop working. What I have promised myself is that 2 days a week over the winter, I'm going to spend in my power lift chair watching old movies and working on these quilt projects. Now, here's the thing. The Texas Star is going to be my quilt, my final quilt. When I say final quilt, I know not before I die, but I mean that's the one that when I finish it, I'm going to say, okay, I have accomplished the one quilt that when I first picked up a quilt book, when I looked at that quilt, said to myself, when I can make that quilt, I will consider myself an accomplished quilter. So I'm working on it, long story short. So here's the thing is, yes, I have a friendship quilt on the go, but I want pieces of my YouTube family in this star quilt. And here's how we can do that. Now, I discussed this with my patrons last night, and they thought it was a great idea. I'm going to ask that anybody who wants a piece of fabric in my star quilt to send me a fat quarter of fabric. A fat quarter is a piece no bigger than 18 by 20 inches. I would actually prefer a piece like 12 by 12. Okay, that will get me at least 2 stars. Okay, don't send me anything bigger. I am going to have to go through my quilt fabric and get rid of a lot of it because I'm not going to be able to use it all. So please don't send me anything bigger than a fat quarter, but the perfect size is about 12 by 12. It needs to be small patterned. Okay? Different colors. And the pattern no bigger than, say, this. Okay? A fat quarter. And when I receive it, please, again, do not send me anything bigger than a fat quarter or a piece 12 by 12. It has to be cotton or cotton polyester blend, no knits. In other words, nothing stretchy, no t-shirt material or anything like that. So if you're interested in sending me a fat quarter of fabric, you send me the fat quarter of fabric. I pin your name to it. And then when I have one of my in the chair episodes of making a star or hand piecing a star, I will feature the fabric that is sent to me. Okay? Does that make sense? So 2 days a week, once I have all my canning and stuff done and my house is put back in order from the grueling summer and fall, I'm gonna sit down and work on my star quilt. So if you're interested in putting a star in my star quilt, then email me at connectedheartsfamily@gmail.com and tell me you want to send me a piece of fabric, and I will give you my address. And then throughout the winter, I will feature those pieces of fabric. God help me, I get more than 10. But anyway, that's what I want to do. I want to add you into my star quilt, because that's going to be the last quilt that I finish, and that's going to be the last quilt. Anyway, think about it. If you want a piece of fabric in my star quilt, small pattern, brightly colored, no bigger than a fat quarter or a 12 by 12 piece, no knits, and you can send solid colors too. Actually, I need some solid yellow, because all of the pieces that you can send a bigger piece. If you have a yard of yellow fabric, that's not flannel. That's just the same fabric as this, but yellow. Okay. It doesn't matter what shade of yellow it is, as long as it's not orange. Okay. So let me know what you think. And who wants to have a piece of fabric in my star quilt? Take care. God bless. I look forward to spending days this winter working on your fabric in my quilt. Sound like fun? Take care. God bless.